everybody and welcome to our all-age service. If you're a visitor today, we wish you a very warm welcome, and this is our once a month all-age service, so thank you for joining us.
Okay, well, as well as it being a special day because it's our all-age service.
Can I do it now?
Not yet, no. It's also a special day.
No.
Not yet. It's also a special day because it is Kai and Jake Jeffrey's birthday today, as well as Eden's birthday. And so we just want to say, now,
Happy
birthday! Woo, woo! And also, if you've also had a birthday this week, happy birthday. And to all those who are having wedding anniversaries or other celebrations, we celebrate with you too.
So, there's lots to do. So let's get on with our fruit quiz.
Woo.
So, welcome to the fruit quiz. On the screen behind us, you will see a picture of a fruit, and we're going to give you options. Can you guess what fruit it is?
Sounds pretty simple.
Okay, so this is your first fruit. So, is it and we're going to play along too. We have to see it on the screen. Is it
Persimmon.
persimmon, a passion fruit,
Or a
peach? I'm going for persimmon,
I'm going for persimmon too.
just because I don't recognise it, and I don't recognise the persimmon word. And the answer is persimmon! So give yourselves a point if you got that right.
Keep score, see if you can beat us.
One each. Which fruit is this? Is it a plum, a fig, or a nectarine?
I'm pretty confident on this one.
I'm going to go for fig.
So am I.
Yes! 2-2. Which fruit is this? Is it a
Galia melon.
cantaloupe or a watermelon?
I'm going for Galia.
I'm going for cantaloupe.
Oh!
Cantaloupe! 3-2.
I mix them up.
Okay, which fruit is this? Is it?
The goji berries
Is it raisins
or dried prunes.
You decide. I'm going to go for dried prunes.
I'm going to go for goji berries.
Oh, goji berries it is.
Yes! 3-3.
Okay, this is the decider. Which fruit is this? Is it pineapple
Is it prickly pear?
or is it a star fruit? I'm going for star fruit.
I'm going for star fruit too because it looks like a star. And the answer is?
Star fruit.
Hey, we'll call it a draw. We could be here all day. That's the interesting thing about fruit. But I think we have a little feature now called In the Fruit Bowl.
You know what?
What?
I think I am the finest orange in this fruit bowl.
My friend, you are a great orange indeed, but I think you will find I am the greatest.
Let's find out. She's coming. Let's see what she picks.
Oh! Pick me!
Pick me!
Pick me! I am so orange!
I'm Josie.
He's fat but not so tasty.
I think I'm going to make some marmalade.
Shredded marmalade? No! Pick her! Pick her!
No!
Not me!
No!
Oh, pick her!
Him!
No, maybe not.
Oh, it is over.
That was a close one.
I saw my life flash before my eyes.
It makes you wonder how you started life.
Oh, my friend, I know where I came from. Like my friend Banana and Apple, I came from the great city of Tiseko.
Tiseko, it sounds a fantastic place.
That is, it has shelves you would not believe in, with meat and the cheeses. Oh, the cheeses. That is where I was from.
No, my friend, you did not come from Tiesco. Tiesco is a supermarket. Tesco. You, my friend, came from a tree.
Oh, yes, you were probably right. Then one day, poof, there I was, this big, marvelous orange on the tree.
No, my friend, you started as a teeny tiny bud, and then with the rain and the sunshine, you slowly grew into a big, juicy orange that you are today.
Oh, not just poof then?
No, slowly.
I bet I came from a big, strong tree, A tree that has been there for thousands of years, like an oak tree. My daddy was a big oak.
No, my friend, you know nothing. Acorns come from oak trees. You came from a fruit tree.
I bet I came from a big tree with bananas and grapes, and there in the middle, shining in brilliance, was me.
No, my friend, you came from a fruit tree. So apples come from apple trees, grapes come from vines, strawberries come from strawberry plants.
I wonder what the name of our tree was. I bet it was an amazing name, a name of such imagination, an inspiring name.
My friend, you came from an orange tree.
A name that will be never forgotten, a name that will go down in history.
An orange tree.
An orange tree? That is our name? Huh. I bet I came from the best orange tree in the world. The greatest, the greenest, the biggest.
Oh, here we go.
Ah, that would be me.
Oh, well.
It's not rocket science, is it? Fruit comes from fruit trees. Apples come from apple trees. Oranges come from orange trees. Pear come from pear trees. Grapes come from
Grape trees.
vines.
Vines.
But the principle is one fruit from one tree. That tree will always produce that fruit.
And you know what? Jesus says something similar in Matthew 7:16. He says, by their fruit you will recognise them. And he goes on to say, a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. And what he's saying there is that people will know, followers of his, people that love God with all their heart, soul, mind, strength, by how they act, how they respond in situations. It should be obvious.
That is challenging. But what do those characteristics look like? And that's what we're going to be looking at today, because we're going to be looking at Galatians 5:22, and it talks about having fruits of the Spirit. And those fruits of the Spirit are
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And they're listed in Galatians 5:22.
So those are the things that we should look like. But, Helen, if we have all those things, how come sometimes I face a situation, I get all cross, I get all angry, I say things I don't want to say, I don't seem to have that love in me. Why do I sometimes drop the ball, as it were, on some of those?
I guess it's a bit like going back to the fruit bowl. Do you remember one of them was like, I've always been a big orange, and the other one was like, no, you started as a teeny tiny fruit. That's it with us, really. As we follow Jesus, as we give him more control and more power in our lives, we show more of his fruit, we grow, we mature. Just in the same way that fruit grows and gets bigger on a plant, so we should be showing Jesus more and more in how we act, so show more of that fruit.
So I guess I've got a bit of growing to do.
Yeah, and we'll be better in some areas than others. And that's part of asking the Holy Spirit for help, isn't it?
Got to keep growing. Right, so today we are looking at the first fruit, which is love. So we're going to be seeing about what love looks like. What does the Bible say about love?
And we're going to think about how does this tie in with what we've also been looking at, because we've been talking about gifts of the Spirit, and now we're talking about fruit of the Spirit's very busy, right? Fruit of the Spirit. And is there a connection between those two?
And we're going to see how we're going to have to make choices to grow in love. How we need to be active in this. It's not something that's just going to happen to us.
But you know what? First, we're going to have a time. The best place to start when thinking about growing in love is thinking about God's love. We're going to have some time of worship and sing about that now. And then we're going to take 5 and catch up with each other.
But this is an all-age service. So, children, come back after the song, after the break, because there's more stuff for everybody. See you soon. And as we're looking at the fruits of the Spirit today, and the first fruit of the Spirit being love, this worship song is all about God's love, and God's love growing in us. So let's sing together. Your love is amazing. Your love is amazing, steady and unchanging. Your love is a mountain beneath my feet. Your love is a mystery, how you gently lift me when I am surrounded. Your love carries me. Hallelujah,
Your love is rising, I can feel it rising. All the joy that's growing deep inside of me. Every time I see you, all your goodness shines through. I can feel this God song rising up in me. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Your love makes me sing. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. It's higher than the heavens, deeper than the deep blue sea. It's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's known me and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. It's higher than the heavens. It's deeper than the deep blue sea. It's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's known me and He loves me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands.
Hi, Rich. What are you doing?
Oh,
What?
it's Helen's anniversary. It's our wedding anniversary soon, and I am just writing Helen a romantic card.
What's going on with the kind of hat and
Oh.
the cloak and the manic sniffing of flowers? And what are the petals for?
Well, I'm just trying to unleash my inner romantic so I can pen these love sonnets like Shakespeare did back in the day.
That will explain the feather. Okay, well, how's it going?
Very, very good, very good.
Would you mind sharing some? Because there's a lot of inspiration, it feels, that you've put into this.
Yes, I can share some. I can
Yeah.
share some.
Well,
My dearest, dear, darling, doting, dearly loved, dear one, Helen.
did you open the thesaurus on D?
Yes, I did. But there's more.
Oh, wow. Do we go on to E?
Everything I do it for you. So don't tell me it's not worth fighting for. I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. You know it's true. Ooh. Everything I do, ooh, I do it for you.
Those are in words?
I had a bit of inspiration from a friend called Brian.
I vaguely recognise that one. So you've been putting a lot of work into that. I mean, that's a lot, isn't it? Saying everything you do it for her. That's quite full on. And oh, what's this? Have you got her a present?
Yes.
Is this for her?
Yes.
It's a little bit opened.
Yes.
And it feels very light for a Toblerone bar.
Yes. Well,
In fact, it's an empty box, Richard.
Well, the creative process takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, and I had a little nibble. Just a little nibble.
It wasn't really, you had the whole bar.
But it's the thought that counts, and there's a lot of thought that's gone into this.
Well, you know what? We're looking at love today, actually, and there's different types of love in the Bible. I just wonder if maybe you need to think a little bit more. I mean, you've got a lot of nice words there, but maybe, you know, like you ate her present, it needs a bit more action, a bit more choice there. I'm just saying. I mean, the Bible talks about 3 types of love. It talks about eros love, which is the romantic, intimate love. That's
Romance.
romance, okay, but whoa there. And that's a lot about what it makes us feel.
Yes, feel.
But it's not the only kind of love. It's not the only one. There's filial love, which is family love, about loyalty and sacrifice. And that kind of give and take, putting each other first at different points of time. And then there's always also agape love. Sorry, agape love, as some say. And that is a completely different love, because that's not give and take. It's just give. It's a kind of giving love with no conditions, no demands, no strings attached. It's never ending, never failing, always and forever love. And it's the kind of love we're told about in John 3:16, where it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life." The love given for anyone, regardless of whether they're loved back, regardless whether they're kind back, just that love that is given by choice. And that's actually the kind of love we're going to look at today, God's love. And it tells us a bit more about that in 1 Corinthians 13. And we're going to hear about that now. You might get some stuff for your letter from there.
Ooh. So now we're going to do a reading from 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the
Hi, Rich! It's me!
Hi, Ozzy. Thanks for joining us. We're just doing a reading, so we're going to have to keep super quiet, okay?
Do
Yeah.
you need help?
No, we don't need help. We're all okay. I've just got a quick reading to do, and then I'll be sure to catch up. Okay? All right.
Is this a quiet voice time?
Quiet voice time, yeah.
I
Okay.
know. I'll do quiet baking.
Yeah, you go. That's a great idea. You go do some baking, but quiet. There we go. Sorry, 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. Ozzy, we're trying to read.
Oh, sorry.
If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing.
Rich.
Yes, Ozzy.
Rich.
Yes, Ozzy.
Nothing.
It's very funny. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you. Yeah.
Ow.
Sorry. Let us continue. Verse 3. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I am nothing.
Is it time now?
Love is patient.
Now?
Yeah, okay. You can come out, but love is patient. But remember, just keep it quiet. We're just finishing off the reading. So, sorry. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy.
Rich.
It does not boast.
Rich.
It is not proud.
Rich.
Yes, Ozzy.
I like your glasses.
Oh, thank you very much, Ozzy. Thank you.
But Rich,
Yes, Ozzy.
mine are better.
That's lovely.
I look really good in mine.
Yes, so it does not boast and it is not proud. It is not rude.
Oh.
It is not self-seeking.
Rich,
Yes, Ozzy.
can I do the reading? It seems like a big part. I'm good.
It is not easily angered and it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth.
Yippee!
It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. And it always perseveres.
I'm back. Rich,
Yes, Ozzy.
I'm sorry.
Really, Ozzy, which part are you sorry for?
Well, I only may have been a bit disruptive.
Yes, maybe you were slightly disruptive.
But
Yes,
Rich-
thank you. We accept your apology. Yes, Ozzy.
I was listening.
Oh, I'm pleased you could listen because I don't know if anyone else heard it.
Well, I got the love being kind
Yeah.
and patient
Yeah.
and helpful,
Yeah.
but I don't get the banging cymbals. I
see.
couldn't hear.
So if love is all about making a noise and making people notice you, and so you are always the centre of attention, then if love is always about those things, then it's like you're banging a cymbal, and that's not love.
I wanted to be noticed.
Yes, you did want to be noticed, and you certainly were banging those cymbals, but actually, love is making sure you're not the centre of attention, but your love is promoting others and building others and lifting others up. It's not all about us.
You look good in glasses.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you.
But Rich,
Yes, Ozzy.
what does love do?
That's a great question. That's a really good question, because so often we're talking about love isn't being noticed and in the centre of everything. Love can almost be unseen, and yet it is the force that makes everything go, move forward, happen. And we're going to see that with Dan now.
Daddy, I'd like a shirt, please.
Ah, okay. I'll get it to you in a second. This could work.
Is it all right to me?
Go.
Thank you, Daddy.
How cool was that? Thank you so much, Dan and Eden. That was brilliant. And we're going to be thinking a little bit about that now. You see, do you remember the last family service? Richard and I had a bit of a discussion about gifts. And actually we looked at how, not gifts like this, but God's given us each special gifts, skills and abilities that he wants us to use for him. We looked at that last time. And if you remember, we've been going through the weeks. We've looked at apostles, people that go. We've looked at prophecies, people that listen and share God's word. The next week's going to be evangelism. Then we've got people that care, pastors and shepherds. And then the little one, people that teach. And God's given all of us some of those gifts and different ones too that he wants us to use for him. Now, the gifts are a little bit like the straw in this illustration, yeah? They're a little bit like the straw. And in 1 Corinthians, Paul is writing to the church in Corinth. And do you know what he says to them? In 1 Corinthians 1:7, he actually says, you don't lack for any spiritual gifts. How cool to belong to a church that has got the full set, that has got them all. How amazing, right? Well, actually, things weren't going so well. The reason Paul was writing to the Corinthian church was that there were quite a lot of problems. You see, people just wanted what they thought were the important, the showy gifts. They wanted people to watch them, and they cared more about that than actually they did about helping each other and caring for each other. And so it actually meant that as a church, although they had all these spiritual gifts, they weren't really moving forward. And you see, Paul writes to them to address the problem. In 1 Corinthians 12, he says, you know what, these are all the spiritual gifts. He reminds them of what they've been given. And then in 1 Corinthians 14, he says, and this is how you should use them. But right in the middle, in 1 Corinthians 13, that we've already heard about, was about love. And he's reminding them, actually, the very environment you need to have at your core is love. You see, he's reminding them that they need to choose to follow God, to love God, to put each other first. They need to keep making those choices over making themselves look more important. And he's telling them that love really is the thing that will help them move forward. You see, when you combine your gifts with love, when you combine everything you do and the thing that motivates you is to show God's love and show his care for other people, that gives us power. Mine stopped because of the end of the chair, but that would have kept going. It gives the church power to move forward. It helps the church make a difference in this world because of God's love. That's what the real power is. You see, if we want to thrive, we need more than just gifts of the Spirit. We need the fruit of the Spirit growing in us too. And the first one, do you remember the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control. The first one is love, because love is the root of all things. Love is what God is. And without love, we are nothing. It all becomes a little bit meaningless. We need God's love at the root of it. And God's love moves things forward. It changes things. And that's really exciting. But it's not always easy to choose love. It's not always easy to make that choice. And Jesus told a story about that we're going to find out about now. The parable of the unmerciful servant. Matthew 18, verse 22. Jesus answered, "Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began the settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 talents was brought to him. Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children and all that he had be sold to repay the debt. The servant fell on his knees before him. 'Be patient with me,' he begged, 'and I will pay back everything.' The servant's master took pity on him and cancelled the debt and let him go. But when the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii. He grabbed him and began to choke him. 'Pay back what you owe me,' he demanded. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him, 'Be patient with me and I will pay you back.' But he refused. Instead, he went off and had the man thrown into prison until he could pay back what he owed. When the other servants saw this, what had happened, they were greatly distressed and went and told their master everything that had happened. Then the master called the servant in. 'You wicked servant,' he said. 'I cancelled all that debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?' In his anger, his master turned him over to the jailers to be tortured until he could pay back all that he owed." Now, you might be thinking, hang on a second, Helen, I thought we were looking at love today, but that parable was about forgiveness. Yes, it was, but there's quite a few things in there that I think we can draw on too. You see, the servant brought before his master, he had got himself into a mess, a debt he could never repay. Even if he gave everything he had, lost everything, he still could not repay what he owed. It was so much. And it's a picture of God with us. God knows all the thoughts, all the actions I've done, I've not done, the words I've said, the words I shouldn't have said, the words I didn't say that I should have said. He knows all of that, all of my wrongdoing, all the skeletons in my closet. And yet he says, I love you so much, I came into the world and gave up my life for you. Because I believe in you, because I want you to know what it's like to be loved by me, to know what it's like to have me as your father. He's done that for us, not because of anything we've done, but because of who he is. Remember right at the beginning, we talked about that agape love, that selfless love that just wants the best. And remember we said how that's God's love for us. And that's a bit like the master in the story. Just clearing it, saying, I'm not looking at you anymore as someone who owes me debt. I'm looking at you as somebody I choose to love, to forgive, to watch how live their life. And I wonder, at the beginning we also talked about an apple comes from an apple tree, a pear comes from a pear tree, and we talked about that sense of belonging. And I do just want to take a moment today just to say there may be people watching who've never decided if they want to belong to God. And maybe today's the day. Maybe it's time to just think, actually, God, you know, I do want you in my life. I want you as my father. I want to accept your love and your forgiveness for me. And I am sorry I've messed stuff up. But be in me now, recognising that it's nothing I can do. It's by your love and your grace in me. Maybe that's a step we need to take today to accept God's love for us. But you know, what does that mean? Because we go on and then the guy, he had been forgiven the equivalent of millions, and he goes out and sees somebody who owes him like £100, and he grabs him and he chokes him and he demands, and he gets into, the master's very angry at him and throws him in prison. What does that mean? We can never make a mistake, that if we don't love perfectly, we've had it? Well, I'm sat by my cucumber plant here. If you look very closely, it's all a bit green, but I don't know if you can see these. I've got some cucumbers growing here I'm very pleased with. But you know what, this plant is not perfect. In fact, I don't know if you can see on camera, and I don't know if we can pick up on this if I hold this up, but it's got black fly all over it. And I need to treat that because that is not good. It's not helpful for the plant. Now, we are going to carry on making mistakes in life. That doesn't mean we're like, yeah, who cares? But it's just part of it. We fail every day to live as we should. We fail to love God as we should. We fail to love each other as we should. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless. Because God says, he who began, it says in the Bible, he who began a good work in us will carry it on till the day of completion. We are a work in progress. And we will make mistakes, but actually being that tree that bears good fruit is about bringing stuff to God every day and asking for his continuing forgiveness and for his help and for changing and putting right the things we mess up. That's what bearing good fruit means, that a good God, even our things we mess up, when we bring them to him, he can help us and bring good out of it again by his grace. But remember that servant, he didn't forgive the 100, probably because although he'd been forgiven millions, he probably still felt like he needed that 100. It was still quite a big deal. You see, love does cost. Love isn't easy. It is a choice often of action. And we need help with that. We need to be coming each day and saying, God, help me to love. Help me to get rid of that selfish, no, I can't be bothered to do that. I just want to do this. And to act for somebody. But we need to be so wise in doing that too. Because love isn't about giving in to everyone's demands. I mean, if my children still, who are now 14, 11, 12, if they still kept going, Mum, come clean my teeth, and waiting for me to brush their teeth like they did when they were children, that would not be right. People need to grow and change too. So it doesn't mean that we just keep doing things for everybody else regardless. because it's about asking God for wisdom about how we can help them to grow and mature. It also doesn't mean we just give in to everything everybody demands of us and wants. Like if my children came and said, actually, Mum, I just want you to feed me chocolate now. If you really love me, you'll feed me chocolate. No, I wouldn't, because that's not what's good for them. It wouldn't help them in many ways. It wouldn't help them grow and develop and mature. It would hinder them. It would give them more problems in life. So love is also about coming back to that question of saying, God, help me to love, but give me your wisdom. Help me to love as you love. Help me to love so that I can encourage people to grow and mature. And actually, He's given us a church to help us do that. He's given us each other so that we can encourage, we can help, we can assist, we can give advice, we can support. That's what we're to do, to grow together. You can't grow in love by yourself. We have to grow in love together. And we're going to listen to a song now that just reflects on God's love for us. And as we listen to it, sing along if you know the words too, but otherwise just listen and just remember how much God loves and wants to input in us. And ask God to help us to be that overflow of His love, to let that love come out of us to those around us.
Climb
A can of beans, a gift of love. When I was a young mum with 3 small children under 5, we went out for the afternoon on a Saturday. I was tired, I was depressed, and I was very tense. And we went for this drive and we called in on a couple older than us, a farming couple, and we went in for a cup of tea. And Joan, the lady who lived there, she obviously pretty well summed up how I was feeling and said, "Why don't you stay for tea?" And I was really taken aback because I thought, how can you suddenly offer tea to a family of 5? I mean, what's she going to give us? How's she going to do it? And she simply got out beans, and we had beans on toast. And I just thought that was amazing, that the gift of love and the hospitality and the care and the fact, you know, she'd summoned me up and knew just what I needed, and she opened up her heart and her home. Up till then, I thought if you had invited people out, you had to provide like a posh meal. But that beans on toast was just what I needed, and I've never forgotten Joan and the tin of beans. So it doesn't matter what you give them, if it's given with love, it's just the job. Thank you.
For me, the acts of love that I really appreciate are the acts of service that the family do around the house. So things like emptying the dishwasher or hanging up the washing, simple things like that just make me feel, loved and appreciated, and it makes me really happy.
Yeah, I just wanted to relay an occasion I remember when I was 14 years old. My parents had just moved to Godmanchester, and we moved there as a family. And we came to Huntershire Community Church for the first time, and we all went on a picnic to Grafham Water. I mean, this is back in the kind of like mid to late 80s. And there was a GP in the church who was leading the youth group. And he came over at Grafham and said, an ice cream van had pulled up at the car park, and he said, "Tim, would you like an ice cream?" And I just remember that being the first time that I think anybody had really sort of bought me an ice cream in a gesture like that, and it just drew me in, and it made me feel included, and I'm still part of the church today. So that was a power of an act of love.
What fantastic stories. I just love the way that they were just genuine acts of kindness, people just doing what they could, just how they could.
Yeah, and it goes in with what we've been looking at this whole series about just listening to God's voice, God's prompting in us, because what we might think of as completely insignificant can at that moment mean so much at the right time with God's timing to someone else, and can have great significance.
So thank you for joining us today, and let's just close with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your love, for your all-encompassing love that has touched every one of us. And we just pray as we go out this week, I pray that your Spirit will guide us to respond to the needs around us in wise and loving ways. To the people that we work with, to our families, to our friends, to the people that we meet. Amen.
And that is us done for today. But we are going on to Zoom, so go and grab a cup of tea or coffee and join us there. There are also the Zoom groups meeting in the week. Tomorrow night, Monday, at 8 p.m. is the Church Monthly prayer meeting, so it'd be great to see you there too.
Youth group, we look forward to seeing you at 4.